Hello, hello, everyone. So let's get into the story. Says here, Billy Idol says, I stole the master tapes for Rebel Yell and gave them to my heroin dealer. Ah, damn, he must have some really good heroin then. He still dresses like this at this age. He looked like a disgruntled homeless man that someone put in the wrong clothes. It is true that you stole the master tapes of Rebel Yell albums during a spat with a record label. Okay. I guess someone asked him that question. Uh, I was saying there's a flaw in, he said, I was saying there's a flaw in this picture, and if we blow this up, it will get worse. The record company started to say, we're leaving it. It's not that bad. Okay. So he had a dispute with them. They're like, it's gonna cost money to redo it, and it's not that big of an issue. I guess he was a perfectionist. Standard. Uh, the record company started to say, we're leaving it. It's not that bad. I just thought, I'm just not going to let this happen. It's so silly. They just need to reprint the picture. I'm not listening to what the record company guy says. In fact, I'm going to blackmail them. Wow, that seems a little bit extreme. The record company guy was probably just thinking about money and numbers and not artistic expression, and especially attention to detail to that point. He's thinking about numbers. So you kind of have to explain to him in numbers, like, well, if we have this sort of thing, you know what? Actually, if they have left it in, it would have created more controversy and more attention to the album than anything else. I was about to say, he could, create an argument where it's like, their reputation could possibly suffer from this, which could lead to, less money in the future. But actually, uh, the record company guy was probably right. So I went down to Electric Lady in the middle of the night and got to where I knew the tape boxes were. I took them and left the studio and gave them to my heroin dealer. And then I phoned the record company and said, this guy I've given them to, he'll have them out on the street bootlegged in a couple of days if you don't change this picture. And they relented. Don't let them walk all over you. Sir, you can't just try to give people advice after just talking about having a regular heroin dealer, you psychopath. You don't, that is not reasonable. Your actions weren't reasonable because it blew up after a discussion. They literally said, it's not that bad. That was his only pushback. And the way you reacted makes sense for a guy that does heroin. What is this? You're 90. Well, is this a commercial? Okay. There's something going on with my right foot. It's not the same as my left foot. What the fuck? Did I miss something? Okay, so he's talking about, okay, this is very disjointed. Your 1990 motorbike smash preventing you from, okay, so this is a question they asked him, from starring as T-1000 Terminator 2 Judgment Day, although somewhat ironically, your post-accident surgery saw you fitted with your own steel framework. Do you still suffer regular aches and pains as a result of the LA crash? Uh, there's something going on with my right leg. It's not the same as my left foot. So there are ramifications from it, but you can fix them by wearing certain insoles in your shoes and things like that. The injury was in the middle of the lower part of my right leg, so it was something they could fix. I love director Jim Cameron. I thought his name was James. I guess his nickname is Jim. I just know he would have got the performance out of me. I would have done whatever he said. It might have opened a lot more doors, probably would. And it's such a shame. But sometimes drug addiction messes things up. You don't say. That's what led to the motorcycle accident, really. Yeah, I would figure. I would figure. I first saw Generation X on Mark Bolan's TV show. What is your memory of that day? Uh, Said Lotus Blue. We got up to Manchester, but our gear was stuck halfway down the motorway. We were standing there talking to Mark when Muriel Young, the producer, came over and went, "These young men don't have their equipment. They can't be on the show." Mark said, "Well, if they are not on it, I'm not doing it." She freaked out, but Mark really, really showed me where his heart lay. And then 2 weeks later, before it aired, he met his end. So 50 million people watched it and everyone saw us, which was pretty incredible. Okay. The lady wasn't really wrong in saying if they don't have the equipment, they can't really perform. And they have a show and a schedule to meet. So I get why she would freak out if they're forcing her into a position where it's not tenable. They're like not offering a solution, and they're just like, well, this ain't happening unless we do it. And it was like, what the hell is she supposed to do then? You're like basically telling her, go back there and fix it. I have nothing for you, but I'm not doing it unless you fix it. Like, it's kind of stupid. Are you amazed at the careers of Sex Pistols fan group, the Bromley contingent, you and Susie? Susie Sue in particular, when did you know it was getting big? When I first met Susie, I just felt she was a bit of a star. She had a strong personality. I didn't know how they were going to do it. Her and Susie and Banshee's co-founder, Steve Bailey, as he was then, but I knew they were just as into punk as me, if not more. There was initially only a few hundred people in the country into it, and I had a few run-ins, and I was really lucky. One day I came across Hammersmith Bridge and walked right into 15 Teds. At first they were going, "Oh, what do you have here? A little punk rocker?" I was obviously shitting myself, thinking I've had it. I'd had it, and then they all burst out laughing. Went, "Oh, right, all right, okay." I I don't know if my ability to read is malfunctioning or his sentence structures are just. Anyways, that was slightly amusing. Until next time.